And we're live.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know where to find us by now. Check out our Facebook page, To The Point. Check out our YouTube page. What is it? To The Point Podcast. You guys know where to check him out. Dougie J's on Twitter. You guys know where to find us. But guys, we've been listening to you. We've heard you. Saul, Tony, Vic, I've heard you. All you guys have talked to me about this. So you know what we're going to cover for you guys tonight? The top 5 Raptors coaches of all time. There's only been 9.
It's a short list. It's a
Very short list in the last 24 seasons. But we're going to cover the top 5. Skip, I got to ask you. I hope you guys can talk to us about this because we're going to debate about this all night, all day. We've been debating about this for the last week. Got to ask you, Skip, who do you got at number?
Okay, so my number 5, that's going to be Butch Carter. Obviously, first Raptors coach to ever take the team to the playoffs. He obviously coached the team with Vince.
Brother of Chris Carter.
Really the coach that brought the Raptors into the mainstream. I don't think anyone, at least I wasn't paying attention to the Raptors for the first 3 years. Butch Carter comes in, he builds the team up. I think they were still well under 500 the year that he got named head coach. And then the next year they were building, and then the third year was the year they finally went to the playoffs. Got waxed by the Knicks, but people were like, the Raptors are a thing now. They have Vince, they are the team to contend with. He had T-Mac on that team, obviously. Who knows what would have happened if T-Mac had stuck around, if Butch Carter had stuck around. He was kind of like, I always have a bit of a soft spot for Butch, because he was the guy at the very beginning. Obviously, he got into a bit of trouble at the end of his realm. Reign. What did I say? Realm?
Reign.
End of his reign. He
Purple.
called out Bobby Knight and sued Marcus Camby during the playoffs, which is...
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know that was a thing until I looked it up today. So I don't remember those good old days too well. But no, Butch is always I'm gonna have a soft spot for him, and I don't think there's anyone below him who is even a contender.
I gotta put him at my number 4, Skip.
You're going 4, eh?
I'm gonna put him at my number 4, not my number 5. Like, that's your number 5, correct?
That's my number 5, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put him at my number 4 because, you know what? He went 0-3 in the playoffs. 0% winning percentage.
Yep.
It was nice, but they lost in the first round to the Knicks.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can I tell you...
Back when the Knicks were kind of good.
They were all right.
Sprewell
It was like,
Knicks,
yeah,
right?
yep. Sprewell and
Ewing?
Allen Houston and...
Was
yeah.
Ewing on that team?
Allen Houston.
Oh, okay.
Ewing wasn't on there. That was when Houston decided to go Hollywood and be in movies.
Yeah.
But do you know who I want to put at my number 5?
Who's that?
Sam Mitchell. Brendan Malone.
Oh, Brendan Malone. Okay.
No, forget that. Sam Mitchell.
Well, I've got Sam Mitchell at 4 right now.
Okay, so we're gonna argue about 5 and 4.
Yeah.
Now, I would normally as if I was a Raptors fan, which I was back then, I would agree with you 100% on this one. But do you know why I'm putting him at my number 5, Skip? I met him.
Oh, I've heard this story actually. Take it away.
He's actually a jerk. Everybody here in the city of Toronto, we all know the Eaton Centre stays open 24 hours for people to go from Queen Street Station to Dundas Station, right? Okay.
Actually,
granted.
funny story. I got locked in the Eaton Centre once. I did.
Really?
They locked all the doors. I swear to God.
Oh man.
It's a long time ago. But
I'm talking. This was 2006. This was the year Sam Mitchell won the Coach of the Year. I was walking with a few of my friends and a female friend of mine at that time, and she turned around and said, "Is that Sam Mitchell?" Dude looked great, man. He was wearing like a nice long jacket.
Yeah,
like
he's got style.
He looked, he had style. His wife had style too. They're both like huge. They make you look short. They make you look like me or Nav. But I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Coach." This is back when I was a Raptors fan. "Hey, Coach. Thank you for everything you're doing for the team. You're doing amazing. I hope you keep it up. I hope everything's good." You know what he did to me, Skip?
He walked away.
He looked at me and went, I looked back at him and I yelled a few profanities. I was not happy with it. But I will put him at my 5. I would love to put him at my 4 because he was the first coach of the year for the Toronto Raptors.
I actually have Mitchell as my 3, but I think we compromised and we're going to go with 4 for this one.
Yes.
So he's our number 4 pick. I think it's really important that he won Coach of the Year. He won the team's first division title. I always felt like he had a great presence behind the bench. He was always a very TV-friendly coach. Maybe that skews my perspective.
He still is TV-friendly.
Yeah. So he basically had the team for 4 years. There were 2 good years, 2 bad years in there.
Yep.
The only real player he had was Bosch. Calderon was on those teams as well, I believe.
You know who he had? He had the Red Rocket, baby.
Matt Bonner.
Yeah, the Red Rocket. Please come back and stay here.
Oh, I mean, I love Bonner, but like,
love this
you got to realize that's not a guy who should be your 3rd best player.
So 5 and 4, we have a discrepancy, but we can mutually agree between 5 and 4 it would be Butch and Sam Mitchell.
Yeah, probably. Right? So I think, so. Sam Mitchell in his last year, the Raptors were only 500. They lost in the first round, but they were actually, by all the metrics, they were a much better team than that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because Bosch was hurt. I don't know if that's because Sam Mitchell couldn't call an end of game play to save his life. I don't know. I don't remember those teams that well. All I remember
Good job, Coach.
is watching Mitchell and just feeling like I was confident that the team was going in the right direction when he was behind the bench.
At the time, we did.
And you remember, they fired Sam Mitchell and they brought in Jay Triano, and that went sideways quick. So, like, let's give Sam Mitchell some love.
We'll talk about Jay Triano in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's give him some love. Butch Carter, can't give you that much love. Like, even though Sam Mitchell was 3-8 in the playoffs, right? Yeah. In 2006, they lost in the first round to the New Jersey Nets, 4-2. Next year, 2007, they lost in the first round, 4-1 to the Magic.
But again, he had Bosch, and he had, who else did he have?
Matt Bonner.
Who else who else scares you on that team?
Nobody.
They had like Rasho Nesterovic. Was he on that? Or was it Garbajosa?
No, it was Nesterovic.
Nesterovic might have been the year after, but Garbajosa or I don't know. Those European guys that played 1 year and disappeared.
They go play in Brazil for a year and then they leave.
I mean...
Well, Butch Carter did have Vince Carter, obviously.
T-Mac.
And T-Mac at the same time. Did not utilize them.
And Antonio Davis.
Hence T-Mac leaving. Yeah, Antonio Davis. I was thinking Doug Christie because he was he's one of the original 3-and-D guys.
Yeah.
You got to say that about him, man. That guy was ridiculous, especially when he left and he went to Sacramento. But you know what? All those guys are gone from the Raptors. Skip, I think we can mutually agree at number 3.
Well, it's not fully mutual, but I have Lenny Wilkens at my 3-4 spot. I had him just behind Sam Mitchell, but you have him at number 3. So
I have him at number
3. We'll put him at number 3. I think Lenny, obviously, he'll be remembered as the first Raptors coach to win a playoff series.
Yep.
And then he was the man behind the bench for the shot against Philly. Not the shot, the other shot, the one
not
that didn't,
Kawhi's shot,
the one that didn't
Vince's
go in.
shot.
But honestly, I kind of think Lenny Wilkens was just getting by on his coattails when he came to Toronto. He had his reputation. The guy who won a title with Seattle, the guy who had coached for years, was like the all-time winningest coach in history or something.
Yes.
And he comes, and the first year the Raptors are pretty good. Then Vince misses the shot. Then they're just kind of downhill from there, and then suddenly he's out the door. And I wasn't impressed by Lenny's tenure that much.
Okay, skip. When Vince missed that shot, what happened that day? Do you remember that?
Well, graduation.
Yeah, the graduation. Vince went to the University of North Carolina to play for his former alumni, the Tar Heels, and accepted his diploma, and then came back with short rest. Maybe he should have got load management.
Oh, you can. It was the same day.
Yeah.
You can't load manage that.
It was the same day.
Still playing Game 7.
Missed the shot at the end, which is unfortunate because all of us were sitting there. I'm sure you were sitting there, and everyone was just looking at it going, and then it missed, and it's like...
Yeah. I would have been 15 probably.
I was 20... How old was
27? Old man.
I was in my 20s. Maybe my teens. Who knows? But he did compile a decent record. This is why I want to give him third, because Mitchell had a 45%.
Decent record. What's his record?
Mitchell had a 45% winning percentage, right?
Yeah.
Butch had a 44% winning percentage. Lenny Wilkens had a 46% winning percentage.
You know what?
Which is
None
the
of them
third
have?
highest. A chip.
No, a 500 winning percentage. So you're saying that all lost more than they won?
Yeah, but out of all the Raptors coaches, those are... Anyway.
Yeah.
So I think he did pretty well for what he had. He was near the end of his career. He is still one of the greatest coaches of all time. I could put him there with Red Auerbach, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich. You could put him up there with them.
Yeah, but it's like Phil Jackson being an executive with the Knicks, like past his prime, out of his depth.
Just get rid of him.
Don't think he really related to the players.
He did go 8-9 in the playoffs.
If I'm not mistaken, he's the one who was the coach when Vince went bye-bye. I'm not saying that was his fault, but...
Okay, can I tell you guys something here? Can I tell you something, Skip?
I know where you're going with this.
Yep.
The mom.
No, yeah. I know a few people that were in the Raptors organization at that point. And basically what it was they said Vince's mom cannot park downstairs anymore. She has to park across the street and pay $20 for the parking each night to show up to the games for her son. That's when Vince said, I cannot jump anymore. And that summer, that's when he grew the afro and he did the greatest dunk of all time. Okay? That's what I think had to lead to it, because I think if Vince was fully invested into that, he would not have gone to his college to graduate. He would have went the next day.
Yeah. So that's partly on Wilkens.
Showing priorities. Yeah.
I mean, so most of what you're talking about is front office stuff. Who was the GM at that time?
I think it was Colangelo or Babcock.
No, it wasn't Colangelo yet. Was Babcock right before?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was Babcock.
So anyway, you can say that that's all on Babcock. That's all on the front office doing their dirty work to Vince. But Lenny Wilkens is there. He's the coach of the team. He's supposed to be the go-to guy. He's caught right in the middle of that. It's like at our job, we have a manager, and then we have
a supervisor.
Not even.
GM
I'm talking about like the GM. The front office is like the GM or like the owner. So if the owner makes a rule, then it's the manager's job to get everyone on board. I know it's not as simple in sports. I know there's a lot of egos, a lot of money involved. Yep. But Lenny Wilkens was right in the middle of that firestorm, and maybe a great coach would have been able to...
That's why he got thrown in with a really good team for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And he had to get out.
Well, but keep in mind, they were a really good team the first... They weren't even really good. They were a good team the first year, they were an okay team the second year, and they were a bad team the third year.
Yeah, so that's when it all fell off.
I'm just saying, as that coach, ideally, you might want a guy who can manage those egos, who can maybe find a way to make Vince happy. I mean... I know it's on Babcock. Don't get me wrong. It's on Babcock's the problem here, but Lenny Wilkens caught in the firestorm, and I can't give him super high grades for that.
It's giving wet sticks and trying to make a fire.
Yeah,
right?
It's true. It's true. He was in a bad spot either way.
Yeah, he was in a bad spot. So guys, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to agree with us, because me and Skip are pretty unanimous on our next 2 picks for your top 5 Toronto Raptors coaches. Number 2, Skip.
So number 2, we got, of course, Dwayne Casey.
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year. Led the team to their first Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes, he did.
Led the first real sustained run of success. Really built a winner out of what he had. I look back and I see how he built that team up. So the first year he came on board, Raptors started 4-14. It was a short season. They finished 23-43. That was 2011, 2012.
Yep.
The next season, the Raptors started 4-19. And I remember this. I remember that 19th loss. I don't remember who they were playing, but I think it was a home game. And I remember Amir Johnson just lost it.
Cock back.
Just had a freak out, threw his mouth guard. I think he got tossed out of the game. He was just sick of it. And everyone was sick of it. Like, so much losing. That was it. They were 4-19 on that day. The rest of the season, they went 30-29. So they finished still 14 games under 500. But they were 500 for the rest of the year. Next year, they get Lowry. Suddenly, they're a good team.
Yep.
And then they haven't been bad since then. So, and Dwayne Casey really did a great job of building that team up. Remember the first year?
Well, he had 7 years to build it up.
Yeah, but so 2 bad years, and then that first year with Lowry, remember he was not really getting along with Lowry. There was a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Like he got benched right around the time he was getting traded to the Knicks. That would have been December of 2012, I believe. Right around the time the Rudy Gay trade happened. Everyone was talking about trading Lowry to the Knicks. He had a bunch of inactives.
Get rid of him. He didn't want to be here.
He got benched.
Talking about
he was coming off the bench for a while. Then they make that trade. He's back in the starting lineup. The Kings guys come in. That's Patterson, Solomon,
Patterson, Solomons, and
Vasquez.
Yeah.
And Vasquez. So those 4 guys come in. Suddenly the Raptors show they're a good team. But Dwayne Casey's still you still see him, he's got the leash on Lowry. He's still pulling him back. He's still...
he was watching too hard.
He's still calling plays. He's still, calling timeouts, telling Lowry, come back to the bench. We're going to talk this over. And then every year you saw Lowry get a bit more free, Dwayne Casey have a little more trust, and the Raptors got a little bit better. Yeah. And that just happened every year for 4 straight years until, obviously, they ran into LeBron the final time, and that was it. But you can't blame that on Casey. Casey did a great job of building contenders.
He had some good players there. He had...
But he developed those players into being great players. No one believed in DeMar DeRozan.
He had DeMar DeRozan. He had Andrea Bargnani.
Well, no, that was early. That was the end of Bargnani. That's not on
Calderon at some point.
But DeMar DeRozan came to the Raptors. He was a high pick, but he was kind of raw, not really that great.
He was more athletic
into
than
being
fundamental.
A great player. Now he's on the Spurs with the best coach of all time, and he's not doing as well with the Spurs.
Skip, let's not get into this best coach of all time, because I would say Popovich might be number 2.
But I'm just saying, DeMar DeRozan his best years under Dwayne Casey. Give him to Popovich. Popovich doesn't know what to do with him. So I think Dwayne did a great job. It almost breaks my heart that he can't be number 1 overall, because I think he was as responsible as anyone for building this team into being a real contender.
Well, that's the thing. His record in his tenure, his 7 years with the Raptors, he won 50% of the regular season games. Okay? He won 41%.
50%. 57%.
57%. Yeah. Sorry, I stand corrected.
I was going to say.
He won 41% of the playoff games that they've played. He's had the longest tenure here with the Raptors, and what he has done in this city and for the culture and for the way the Raptors have developed players and for how Raptors players such as Siakam and Anunoby, who else you got that came up in the system? Lowry. You got DeMar DeRozan.
That's the current. You got to remember the Pattersons.
You got all these guys that they brought up, and he has coached right. And the thing that irks me a little bit, the reason why he's not number 1 to me, is because it bothers me about the Raptors organization that he won Coach of the Year and then gets fired.
Yeah. No, but sometimes you just got to do that. Sometimes you have a great coach, and you just have to make that one change. You get to a certain point, you get to the top of that mountain, and you got to blast. You got to find a higher mountain to climb.
You are correct, Skip. You are correct, because this brings us to the number 1 coach for the Raptors of all time because of the system that Dwayne Casey put in place.
Yeah.
Because who was his assistant coach?
All right. So obviously our number 1
went through and won the chip, baby.
And won the chip.
Won the chip.
So we both have Nick Nurse as our number 1 coach. This is obvious just because he won the championship. You can't really not give it to him.
The best winning percentage of any Raptors coach.
Yeah. Now, I think I actually had a bit of a pushback when I started to rate this list because I was thinking, maybe Nick Nurse is just a little bit overrated because he won the championship. Maybe.
And he's using Dwayne Casey's template?
Yeah, maybe he's just kind of riding on coattails. Not that he's a bad coach, but just it's only been 1 season. You can't really properly rate a coach after 1 season. It'd be like rating a player after an MVP season and saying he's the best player of all time.
Nah,
But-
not happening.
Anyway, I'm just saying, like,
Not Westbrook, not Harden.
I was worried about putting him at number one, but then I'm watching how he's dealing with this year's team with no Kawhi, how he's got this
No Kawhi, no Danny Green. Lowry's
Yeah.
out, Ibaka's out.
and how he ran training camp this year. He was like, we're a championship team. If you're coming in here, you got to be a champion.
You got ball.
And if a guy wasn't trying in practice, he would go to the media and he'd just say, yeah, we're not going to play him because he's not trying in practice. Like, just because he's not very good. He doesn't understand the system. And then you look and you realize how complicated the Raptors system can be, how hard it must be to play that system on defense,
Look how many swingmen there are.
and how much buy-in he has from
Yeah.
all the players.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't do that on the Knicks or the Wizards. Like, the Wizards aren't playing that kind of defense because they know they're bad and they just don't care. On the Raptors, everyone's on the same page. Everyone understands you've got to be a part of the system. You've got to play your role.
And if you're not playing your role,
you're not playing your role, you're out of there. If you're the seventh man on the bench, you're not going to come in there and jack 30 shots. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to come in and play defense.
exactly. And make sure the team wins. Like, do anything you can to help.
So I have a lot of respect for Nick Nurse, and I think he deserves his spot.
You know what? He has a 71% winning percentage
Yep.
in regular season with the Raptors. This is not counting this season, guys, because we all know 14 and what is it? 11 and 2, 14 and 2, something like that.
I think it's
The Raptors are tied for second in the Eastern Conference. That's all that matters. You know, he won the championship. He went 16-8 in the playoffs. You know, although he did have Kawhi Leonard,
Yeah.
right? But he also did have Lowry. He had Siakam. He had Gasol. He had Ibaka. He had Van Vliet. He had OG for a point before he got injured. Who else?
And he made adjustments in the playoffs.
Yes,
That's the thing.
that's the thing.
That was the one knock on Casey. Don't
Exactly.
make
That's why
adjustments
Casey's
in the
not
playoffs.
number one for us. Skip. So I think we can agree on this one. I hope you guys can agree, and I hope you guys argue with us about this. We want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, top five. I mean, I don't think there's much of an argument. I mean, if you want to put Jay Triano on your list, more's the power to you.
Well, that's where I was going to ask you about this. Do we have any other notable coaches for the Raptors?
Well, I think you just named them.
Jay Triano?
Brandon Malone, Jay Triano. Who else do we have?
I know somebody.
Kevin O'Neal. College coach in the NBA.
No, I know somebody. He was one of the assistant coaches when Dwayne Casey was here. You guys have seen him on TV. I went to high school with them. I know him pretty well. He's now the head coach of the Raptors 905.
No, we're talking about
Jama Mahalela.
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking
we're
about notable.
Major league coaches.
Notable.
No, I mean,
but you only had
I love Jama. Don't get me wrong.
You only had 3 Canadian people that were on the bench for the Raptors: Jay Triano, Jama, and Jamal McGlure.
Big cat.
Yeah, who we played against in junior high, and he kicked their backsides. So you have those 3 notable coaches that have been there for the Raptors. But for our top 5, guys, we hope that you can let us know what you think. Let us know how you feel. Debate us. Let us know any type of stats that you want to bring up that we can argue with you about. If you want, come on the show. We'll talk to you about it. Me and Skip are right here. More importantly, what we have to say is what you guys got to say. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and
Good night. Peace.